Welcome back to the Manor. Julian McBain here, and today we are back into the water. As I like the change of pace that hunting Camborias brings. Especially when you hunt a single mob for long enough, it does get kind of old. So, we're going to go looking for Camborias, and we're going to talk about... we're going to extrapolate a little bit more on the subject of hunting for profit in Entropia and what to really expect, and setting those realistic expectations, because I think that a lot of new players come into Entropia with certain expectations, and those expectations aren't necessarily realistic. And I mean, we all start playing games with certain expectations, right? And we hope that we'll find the game that we're looking for, what we're really trying to do. But there are a lot of even experienced players that play Entropia with certain expectations, or they treat it as a type of game that it's really not. I just want to kind of go through that. But before we get started, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the Manor. Please take a moment and subscribe down below. We are on the road to 13 million subscribers, one subscription at a time, so make sure you subscribe. Also, please consider going to patreon.com/JulianMcBain if you want to support my work. If you do, you'll get copies of The Modern Entropian and Personal Finance for Gamers, along with exclusive episodes. Thank you so much for my patrons. And a big shout out to my patrons, Jay Lambertson, Spectrum3900, and Red Kryptonite. Alright. The expectation in Entropia Universe for a lot of people is that it's a casino. And no wonder I'm not finding them. I'm going the wrong friggin' direction. And that is a mistake. In fact, that is a fundamental mistake. Never treat this game like a casino. You don't treat Wall Street like a casino, well, unless you're r/Wall Street Bets. You don't treat this game like a casino. The instant you think it's a casino, that's when you run into trouble. And see, a lot of players, they play this, they're out looking for the global. And I know I mentioned this in my last video, but I think it's very important. It warrants repeating. Too many players think of this game like a casino. They're out after the global. They're after the swirly, the trumpet sound. But that's not how you progress in this game. This game requires patience. It requires grind. And fact of the matter is it's going to be a while before you find any sort of an ROI in it. So what the purpose of this video is whereas the last couple of videos I've done, it's been more advanced, more specific items, I want to go into something a little more broad, a little more accessible for newer players. And I'm going to try to do that. I don't know if I'll succeed or not, but I'm going to make the attempt. Before I go too far, I do need to give a shout out to Lucky Eddie, who posted a comment on my last video. I had mentioned ways to learn crafting. I believe it was on my last video. It was Player Run Corporation, so it was actually 2 videos ago. The Player Run Corporation's video, where he had mentioned, I had mentioned that you can book passage on like the Normandy or a mothership as crew and do repairs. You might have to pay for your passage, or they might even let you on for free if you're going to do nothing but repairs. They're probably not going to let you fly the thing or man a gun, but you'll be able to do the repairs and get your engineering skills up. There's another one, the Variag is also good for this. If you join the Variag crew, they'll let you on there and they'll let you repair. And I don't know if there's a cost associated or if it's free if you're doing repairs. That's how Lorespay got his skills up. He joined the Variag crew for a while. And now he can make stuff, and I've had him make swords for me. Of course, I've paid for them the appropriate price, and his markup is always reasonable. But the fact is that those are the easiest ways. Well, there's another one that I had not been aware of that Lucky Eddie keyed me in on. So if you're on Calypso during the robot invasions, and the fort he used in particular, I think, was Pandora. But when robots attack the forts, like Fort Medusa, Fort Sisyphus, apparently you can actually repair the walls before they break in and defend the fort, and that's a way to do it too. So huge shout out to Lucky Eddie. I did not know that. I have never tried it. I would grab an RK0 and give it a shot and see how it works for you. It might be that the robot invasions are just too difficult. I found that when I do robot invasions, they do tend to be extremely tough. I'm probably at the level now to where I could actually challenge the robot invasions, but at the time I was way too low a level. I mean, keep in mind when I actually got stuck in a robot invasion for several days because my timing sucked and I didn't know what to do about it. But this was back when I didn't even have this armor. I think I was still using TT armor, and I was stuck at Fort Lahar. No, yeah, Fort Lahar. And they had the robot invasions there. And finally, I happened to log in when the robot invasion wasn't happening, and I got out. But if that's an opportunity, go for it. Take the opportunity. You know, get those skills up so you can get those crafting things. Because when it comes to raw profit potential, crafting is where it's at. The downside being that it's also going to have the largest pet outlay up front. Because you got to get those skills up. And you're not going to do it quickly, or you're not going to do it cheaply. Those are the two options. You can either do it slow and inexpensively relative to the basis, or you can do quickly by throwing a whole bunch of money down. I'd recommend grinding it out because you learn things as you grind that you do not learn if you just dump a bunch of cash in. For instance, I've learned a lot about hunting technique, about how to be economical by doing a lot of low-level hunting, what I'm doing now. I mean, hell, if I want to, I can go challenge level 30 mobs. I'm level 47. I can challenge Shubs on Monria. I'm not super eco at it, but I can do it, and I can survive. I can tank through quite a bit. I've challenged the Warlord Sanctuary and gotten quite far solo. These are all things I can do. It doesn't mean it's smart to do it. See the difference? If I do something like that, I'm not looking to make an ROI on it. I'm doing it for the challenge. If you're playing at the edge of your ability, you're not doing it for ROI, you're doing it for the challenge. There are a lot of players who do it in an effort just to get the globals, and that's a mistake. Because overall, if you're playing for globals, you will lose money. That's not an if and or but, you will lose. That is a losing proposition, at least on the forefront, because a lot of the money that you put into those fights when you are at the bleeding edge of your ability go into skills. So yeah, technically, you still have it, minus whatever the local tax is, with which there's always a tax of some sort, even if they don't say there's one. But it doesn't mean you're going to be able to use it. So what you want to do, if you're new, right? What you really want to do is think about what your objective is. If your objective is just to play a game that you can enjoy and put a little bit of money in, then do that. You know, you put in your $15 a month just like you're playing any MMO, you know, Final Fantasy or WoW or whatever, and you use it, and when you run out of ammo, you're done. You know? And or you can sell the mats and you can cycle it for ammo too, and you just play that way. A lot of players do that. In a lot of ways, that's what I do. Not entirely, but there's a lot of that to it, because a lot of times I just play this to chill. I'll sit here, I'll turn on an anime because I'm a weeb, and I'll just shoot stuff for a couple hours in the evening, just to chill out. Have a relaxing evening. If I want to get into something intense, I'll play Star Trek Online. If you're looking to grind for the purpose of being a money producer, there are a couple of things you need to know, especially as the newbie. Number one, despite what a lot of people say, despite what everyone bitches about, Entropia Universe is not a fucking casino. It is not a casino. It is a real cash economy MMORPG. There are pieces in it that will make you want to treat it like a casino, and that is a mistake. And I know of other MMOs that have real cash economies, or that will have real cash economies, that have eschewed that, so people don't treat it like a casino. And sometimes I wish this game didn't have the global system or the Hoff system, but on the other hand, when you get it, it feels really good, and I know it, so I kind of don't mind it, as long as you're mindful of what you're doing. If you're looking to play this game for a profit, long term. If you're trying to do it short term, forget it. This is not the game for you. Go play poker online or some stupid thing like that. Okay? This is not for short-term turnaround. This is for long-term objectives. If you're actually looking to pull money out of this, you got to think years, not months. Okay? Here's what you do. I'm going to give you the exact layout of how to do this, because it will work. I guarantee it'll work. I don't know how long it'll take, but I know for a fact it'll work because I've done the math. And the numbers are the numbers, period, dot. Okay? You put in your $15 a month. You do low-level hunting like I am now. Go through Calypso, spend the time, get Buchan's spare rifle, and adjust it. So it gives you the higher layouts. So it's basically the equivalent to the TT gun. Okay? Because that's what this is. It's the equivalent to the TT gun. Maybe you go and you purchase the starter kit with the Barbarella. More power to you. Honestly, overall, that's probably a much more... It is a more efficient weapon. Long term, it's probably going to benefit you. But for the sake of this argument, I'm using Buchan's. I've got a scope on it. Let's say you get Buchan's with a scope on it, right? See, I've got a scope on it. Okay. You put in your $15, $20 a month. And you burn through all your ammo. And that's all you do. You don't do anything else. You just burn through your ammo. You gather enough mats. You know, maybe you just cycle the stuff that's below 104 like a lot of people do. I do that often. Like this 102 stuff, I won't bother trying to sell that on auction because it takes too long for too little return. I might get one extra ped for it, but I gotta wait a week in order to get it. That doesn't do me any real good, right? So you cycle that stuff a little bit. You get your skills up a little bit. But you're only putting in $20 a month, just like any MMO on average, right? Because you're not buying X packs ever. So on average, if you buy one X pack a year or every 2 years for an MMO, especially if you're someone who gets like the digital deluxe ones, so they're like $100 a pop. If you're doing $20 a month, overall you're going to be putting about the same amount in. Okay, fine. You know, you do what you have to. You get the armor. Okay, fine. And then you start grinding. Once you have your equipment, which will probably take you 6 months to gather, playing at that level, you start grinding. And you grind. And the rare mats, like the Rotten Caboria clam, you just save it. Because it's got a good markup. 250%. You throw that in your storage, you just save it. Paint. Paint has amazing markup. And these stupid things here, freaking 267%, it just takes a metric shitload of time to gather them. I've been playing for years. I still don't have enough of any one of these individual items in order to put it on the freaking auction house yet, because it's got to be 50 ped or greater, or else you're never going to fucking sell it. So, okay. You do that. And you sell the stuff, the good stuff, on the auction. Okay? Good. Now you've got ped. What do you do with it? You buy deeds. Why do you buy deeds? You buy deeds because they give you income. Gives you this income. Now you're making money back for nothing other than letting it sit there. Rinse, repeat, ad infinitum. Eventually, the amount of ped, because $20 a month cash is 200 ped. Okay? Eventually, you'll have enough deeds to produce that 200 ped. Well, now you don't need to put money in the game anymore. You're playing for free. Congratulations. And then, if you keep rinsing and repeating, you start to pull money out. Now, what does it take to pull money out? You got to be 1,000 ped to pull money out. So, let's say you build yourself up, and you're able to pull 200 ped out of your deeds and shares, because you can also do like Crystal Palace shares every single month. Awesome. You've made it. You're playing for free, right? You haven't increased your level at all. You're playing for free. And again, I'm not saying this is going to take a short time. I'm still friggin' working on it. Now, I play at a much higher level than $20 a month because I've got this channel that I need to maintain, and I love this channel, and so I do it. I am also blessed with patrons that help me offset that cost. So I'm not saying that I'm doing it, on hard mode. There's a lot of calculations that I put into doing this. But let's just say that you've done that. You've got your 200 ped a month. You're bringing out of deeds. Okay. Now what do? Well, you keep doing it, because now everything over and of that is money you've got back. Now, if you're like me and you're anal retentive and you do a spreadsheet for everything, you know every penny you've put into this game. I can tell you every cent profit loss I put into this game. Now, I can't tell you the exact dollars I've put into the game total, because there are certain things that are not considered profit loss. A deed is neither profit nor loss. It is an asset. Now, if I had been smarter, I would have tracked it from the beginning so I know what my cost basis is and all that stuff. And I actually tried doing that, and I actually ended up losing track of it, and that's on me. My bad. But the fact of the matter is using simple math and checking the markets, I can tell how much the value of my assets are. If I were to sell everything, I could tell, with a little bit of math, with a little bit of work, I could tell you what I would get back for selling all of my assets off. Now, the big thing is if I sell off all those assets, because the majority of them were purchased using that passive income, would I offset everything that I put into the game? I don't know that I've made it there yet, but I'm getting close. But keep in mind, I've also been playing since 2017. I've been playing very carefully. I've kept careful track of every single ped I've spent and every single ped I've earned. Only skipping out on it when it's going for an asset, direct to asset or direct back, not when I'm buying items. So like armor, that's spent money until I sell it again, right? Deeds, not so much. That's not spent money. It's an asset. I have an asset to back it. I can sell that asset and get money back. Now I can sell the armor, but I can't trust that the market's going to be there. There will always be a market for deeds and shares. Well, unless it's compet deeds, and still some people are dumb enough to buy those. So how you track it is up to you. Eventually, I'm actually going to get better at tracking things, so I'm more precise. But in the meantime, what I do works for me. You got to figure out what works for you. Okay, so you're tracking everything. You're getting your 200 ped a month on average from your deeds. Awesome. Sometimes you get a little extra. You pump it into more deeds or shares. Okay, now you're getting 300 ped a month. Well, now you got a choice. You can either buy more deeds with it, or you can set it aside. I mean, you can also use it frivolously. You've certainly earned it at that point. But at 100 extra ped a month, that's 1,200 extra ped a year. Once a year, you can do a $120 withdrawal. It's really that simple. And then you can just start counting up until every penny you've originally put into the game, you've drawn out. And then once that happens, shit, you're in the black, dude. You got this. You won Entropia. Now it's present. Now you're beyond the cost basis. You're earning income. Now, a couple ways that I would do it, because this is basically my plan long term. Because I play at the level I do, and I do it primarily because I am a YouTuber, right? I'm going to continue dumping all of my profits into more deeds until I get to a certain point. My first goal is to offset everything I put into the game. Once I reach that, it's to continue being able to climb to where I can take a withdrawal a year. Okay. But by that withdrawal a year, I want it to only be half of the PED beyond what my offset for all of the play is. So let's say I play, for the sake of argument, let's say I spend 500 PED a month, right? And in order to withdraw, you need 1,000 PED. Okay. So 500 PED a month, that's 6,000 PED a year. Because 500 times 12 is 6,000. Okay, fine. In order for me to be able to take one extra withdrawal a year, I need to be earning, and just to keep it round, we'll say 1,200 PED a year, because otherwise it's going to be some stupid decimal number. I need to be doing, I think it's 600 PED a month. 600 PED a month in D-Draw. If I do 700, I can pour that back in, that extra 100, into more assets and still take my annual withdrawal. And the more that grows, the bigger the annual withdrawal gets, until maybe it can be semi-annual, and then quarterly, and then monthly. Now, by the time I get there, I'll probably be an old man. 60 or 70 years old, still playing this goddamn game because I love it so much. My children and grandchildren, well, my son and whoever children he decides to have, will probably be, Grandpa, are you playing that stupid game again? But the fact of the matter is that will work. Okay? That will work. I have done the numbers on it. I have done the math. Money is my business. That will work. I'm not sure how long it'll take for it to work because there's a number of factors involved, like the loots you get. How, if you decide to spend a month a couple times a year where you just, instead of dumping it into deeds, you dump it into more ammo so you can play more. And that's legit. That's totally legit. It's a game, first and foremost. This is not an investment vehicle. You should be having fun. I play this game to have fun. But I'm also money smart. See how that works? And if you treat it with that kind of respect, you'll be far more successful than just going around hunting the globals. And I'm dead serious about that. They say that there's no way to guarantee that you'll make money off of this game. And for all practical purposes, that is correct. For all practical purposes. However, in an absolute sense, in a technical sense, it is absolutely not correct. All you need to do to make money off this game is to know how to play the numbers and have the patience. Now, of course, there are ways to do it faster. You can start a business. You can start a taxi. You can do a player-run corporation like I've recommended more than a dozen times. You can play the market. You can form a cartel. You can do all of these things, right? And hey, a cartel in Entropia Universe is actually legal, unlike in real life where it is not. Since Entropia is a video game, therefore there is no law. But the fact of the matter is if you treat the game right, if you treat the game like a game, if you respect the rules and how it works, you can in fact do what most people say is impossible. But you gotta have the patience. You have to have the patience. And I will hammer on this until the day I die. Because fact of the matter is, this formula will work in real life too. At least the basic concept behind it. yeah, it's a little more complicated than that IRL, right? There's a lot more pieces that are moving around for you to deal with. But the whole concept behind it, that whole money management process, actually works in real life. This is how I maintain my life with all the goddamn debt I have. Is by just understanding how the numbers work. You can do it too. And you can do it in a video game, and you can make the video game make you money. And you can do it in any game like it, assuming it has some sort of a passive vehicle like the deeds, which I know not all of them do. So, okay, I'm going to get off my goddamn soapbox because I'm feeling soapboxy. Maybe it's just salty. I don't know. But in the meantime, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe down below. We are on the road to 13 million subscribers, one subscription at a time, so make sure you subscribe. And always, I really appreciate the support, and we'll see you in the next one.